So, hello and welcome to Napalming. This is going to be my very first proper public video, and basically the opening of my channel. So, grab a drink or snack and strap yourselves in for some foul language, bad grammar, and even worse accent. So yeah, you have been warned. And now I was thinking about what should I record, what game should I choose, maybe not game at all, maybe I should start vlogging, but since I'm a bit under-equipped and free time is a luxury to me, I decided to go at ease. Well, by saying at ease, I mean playing this masterpiece of a game. Heart attack-inducing, high-octane real strategy game, Wargame Red Dragon. These are going to be the series where I take on one of the campaigns of it. To be more specific, the very first campaign of the game, the Busan Pocket, year 1987. A fictional scenario of North Korea's reign and wishes to expand, basically. Like the rest of the campaigns in this game, it's a fictional scenario. Do no lucky or not, depends on whose side you're on. This hasn't happened, and hopefully will not happen in the future. So I'll be commenting and explaining the game's mechanics as we play. No voiceovers on pre-recorded games or replays, though I might do some of those later on, but definitely not in these series. So without further ado, let's jump right into it and we'll go over the basics, as well as the introduction to campaign and the first glance at the gameplay. So here we are. The campaign list, as you may already see, there are a few more campaigns here in this game. The campaigns are usually pretty long. I don't know how many episodes I'll be making on these campaigns, or will I play other ones at all? If I feel like it and there are some requests, then I'll definitely take a peek at them and basically play and make another episodes of them. So yeah, let's enter the Busan Pocket. As you can see, the difficulty is easy. That does not mean that the AI is going to be easy. I'm pretty sure the AI is always set at medium on the campaigns, and it's only a matter of how many units I am starting with in comparison to the enemy, and how much time do I have to reach my goals and objectives. Because yes, in this game the objectives are timed, in this game's case in turns, and you have to complete them before a certain amount of time passes in order to not to screw up the whole campaign. So yeah, I hope that the rules here are not going to be going too hard on me, because I haven't touched this game in a while, and yeah, I'm not that great of a military strategist, as you will probably see in the upcoming episodes and series of this game. So yeah, I guess it is time to launch it and see the introduction to what we're going to be dealing with.
June 10th, 1987. South Korean dictator Chung Do-won, having reached the end of his official presidential mandate and willing to step down, announces his choice for a successor. This appointment, which oversteps any electoral process, triggers the wrath of the students and the liberals, who were hoping for democratic reforms. June 10th to the 18th, 1987. In a matter of days, over 1 million protesters take to the streets all over the country. U.S. forces in Korea are ordered to remain on lockdown in their barracks. North Korea does not fail to notice the situation in the south. Agents infiltrate designated circles in order to increase the level of chaos, while military forces are put on alert. June 19th, 1987. While police and security forces are about to be overwhelmed, President Chun mobilizes the army in the streets. Hard-pressed and panicked by a hostile crowd, an officer orders his troops to fire. In a matter of minutes, the shooting spreads all over the streets of Seoul. June 19th to the 21st, 1987. The crackdown is brutal, resulting in over 1,000 casualties and many more arrests. June 21st, 1987. With U.S. troops still confined to their barracks and the ROK Army deployed in the streets, North Korean leader Kim Il-sung decides the time has come for Korea's reunification. June 22nd, 1987. When the North Korean artillery barrage rolls over the DMZ at dawn, U.S. and ROK units, disorganized by the civil unrest, are taken by complete surprise. June 22nd to the 27th, 1987. Within a few hours, the first lines of defense are overwhelmed. Within a few days, the battered U.S. and ROK units are pushed back to a last perimeter around the vital harbor of Busan.
So yeah, was the intro for this campaign. This is probably going to be the only cinematic you're going to see throughout this whole series. And we are immediately greeted by this gentleman over here. Not sure what about rank. I'm not, as I said, a military expert on these matters. And let's see what he has to say. Major, I'm sorry, but I cannot get through to the general headquarters. All communications with the front are cut off. Okay, that doesn't sound too great. Ah, wait, yes, I think I managed reaching an advanced post of the 3rd Infantry Battalion. I'll put you through now. Let's see what they have to say. This is Sergeant June from the 3rd Infantry Regiment. They totally trashed us. They're coming straight at you. They're not even stopping to take prisoners. Okay, well, of course, if the front lines have been overwhelmed already, I don't think that the North Koreans would have the attitude to even stop and take prisoners. Huh. At least 1 armored and 2 infantry regiments, supported by more artillery than imaginable. Our HQ has just blown up, and we only have 1 defensive line left. Communication breakdown, Major. I will try to get through to our other headquarters and to the US General Headquarters in this region. In the meantime, I am giving you the reports on enemy troop movements. Roger that. Let's see what we got, and you can already have a first glance at our happy little playground that we're going to be having. Computer's turn on turn 0. This is the start of it, boys. Okay, and we were immediately interrupted again. Major, I managed contacting the American headquarters. We should be getting information on their objectives shortly. In the meantime, here's the situation. Busan must not fall before American reinforcements arrive, which is in 3 days' time according to their promise. We are holding 3 peripheral sectors and the enemy is surrounding us. Well, doesn't look too great. We have few airborne and ground reinforcements, but they should enable us to make up for our losses, which will be inevitable. Good luck, Major. Cool. So here we are, we're briefed, and we can see what we will be dealing with here. So our playground is North and South Korea's, mostly South, of course. Here was that 31st or 35th or 8th, I forgot the number, peril, where the DMZ was. Now it's all under control of North Korea. And yes, we can already start seeing our first units here, what we start with, as well as the points which we can spend on calling in additional units later on. Most likely, of course, they're going to be spent right here, right now. Not really right now, but first let's look over of what we got. So yeah, these campaigns are consisting of units like battalions and convoys and regiments. So we have 24th Infantry Battalion, and of course each unit has, well, their respective units, so to say, English 100. They have they're basically categorized, and as you can see, there is a command infantry unit, Bonbu. So command infantry, I'll explain to you in a bit why it's probably the most important type of unit in the whole game if you want to keep your forces alive, because if the command unit dies of this infantry battalion, then the whole infantry battalion is being dismissed. Basically, you're losing it. So these have to stay, and preferably alive. Yeah, so we have some Sochong SU year 85 edition, so to say. Yeah, these are the stat cards for this infantry. Stat card. So yeah, as you can see, this is an expanded information of what you have. Yeah, so the stat card is basically going over the weaponry, offensive of course, of the unit, as well as the more specific stats, as you can see them in numbers. To give a little bit of a perspective how good or bad they are, they of course have bars adjacent to them. As you can see, the more the better, basically. You can see the range ground, range helicopters, which means this infantry, of course, like many others, can engage helicopters and shoot them with their armament, main armament mostly, at them, and potentially bring them down if they are under fire. Accuracy is 30% stabilizer. Now, you might think, how the hell do you put a stabilizer on a person? Stabilizer is mainly a tank thing. Well, in this game's logic, the stabilizer means of how accurate the unit is on the move. So, while moving, this Sochong SU squad of Sochong SU can fire at a basically 20% accuracy. That is not including the buffs which you get from their veterancy, because this game has a full veterancy system on units, which is basically experience. The more they kill or shoot, they get experience, and they get little buffs, a little percentage of buffs on their base stats, which are stated in this card. Yeah, a bit more below you can see the strength, size, optics, speed. Pretty fast infantry in it, can run at 20 kilometers per hour. I think the average human can run at 16, but we're not discussing real life here, I guess. The HE power is basically, well, how this game understands bullets work. I will not get into this much, really, and not gonna be dissecting each game mechanic here, unless I feel the need to. Some of them I might miss. Some of them I will get out of the way as soon as I notice them, just for basic clarity. Rate of fire, 160 rounds per minute, basically. As you can see, there's strength, which means 10. Infantry-wise, it means how many people are in that squad, which means 10, of course, with each point of damage. Or if they're being directly hit, someone that gets them directly hit, of course they lose a person, so their strength. Which basically scales down their, well, firepower that they can output. Pretty simple, right? Each infantry squad comes with their respective transport, in this case a K200. So yeah, you can see the stat card here. I went over the most of the mechanics there, but for vehicles I have to point out that strength, which you can see 10 in here as well, for vehicles it works a bit differently. It means how much health it has. Damage and health calculations I'll go over a little bit later, but yeah, you can see the specifics here. Yeah, we have some stingers with some man pads here, as well as ATGM infantry. Well, not really ATGM. As you can see, it has M67RR, which is basically a recoilless rifle, which has 1400 meters of range on the ground. Now, below the M67, you can see 4 bracketed, basically shortenings, which is heat, stat, and AOE. So heat and AOE are basically the rounds that they can fire, and they have. Heat is, well, high explosive anti-tank. Very good and very dangerous against any sort of vehicle, really. And AOE, which stands for Area of Effect round, is basically an HE round to be used at soft targets or some very light armored vehicles. I might as well just be referring AOE to as HE from now on. Also, you can see stat, which means this is a static weapon. It cannot be fired while being on the move, unlike the M16. So here's a quick introduction to one of the game's mechanics, I guess. We also have 3rd Armored Battalion, consisting of M48A5Ks. Oh boy, armor, you say. As you may already see on this unit, the front, side, back, and top armors on this one is not really that great. I think the values in this game go up to 25 or 26, maybe even 27. I do not remember correctly, but we'll get to see in the future. Yeah, these are not really tanks. Some APCs have more armor than these. Well, as you can see, well, this is a 1995 variant, most likely, of course, an upgrade. But they are not going to be capable fighters in our field. We'll have to field something a bit different. Let's see, M48A3Ks. Oh, these are even worse, with AP power being only 9. Okay, this is not gonna go great. Might as well just get out of the way and explain the vehicle damage mechanics here. So, we have this M48. Let's say it faces another M48 on the field. So here we have two tanks facing each other with their frontal armor. Each of them has a shell with AP power of 17 as the kinetic energy round. It has strength of 10, which means it has 10 health points. So basically, one tank fires and hits the frontal armor of the other tank. So, what the game does is makes a calculation. AP power minus the frontal armor, or whatever armor it hits, really. So 17 minus 5, which is 12, which means it does 12 points of damage. This tank only has 10 health, 10 strength, which would basically mean that if one M48A5K hits the other one, so the enemy tank basically, the one who's on the receiving end of the shell, would explode, which is going to be damaged beyond repair immediately. Might find another comparison. I see another heavy armored battalion, which consists of K1s now. We're talking armor here, which is 17. So let's say that M48, was it M48? Yeah, one M48 faces a K1. So M48 fires an AP shell worth 17 points. It hits the frontal armor of K1. And the game makes the same calculation. 17 minus 17 will equal 0, which basically means the shell is either going to bounce or just do no damage whatsoever. AI, in this case, will probably not even going to shoot at K1 and concentrate on another target and actually damage. Because it's just no point in wasting ammunition. It's pretty well coded. Though as you can see, this K1 has AP power of 16. Which is kind of interesting. Just let me quickly check if that's actually true. Yeah, I thought I was dreaming there for a second or imagining things. So yeah, as you can see, even a K1 facing another K1 couldn't damage each other. So I guess the frontal armor is don't to be dreamt of. Yeah, it has a M2 Browning and M240 mounted on top and coaxially, respectively, to be able to open fire on some infantry units or something that closes in and it can damage. Yeah, let's see, what else do we got? Well, we don't have much of it here. I will focus on defensive play here, because I don't think I can afford launching an attack in any direction whatsoever, because the units here, which are mostly held back here, of course, we don't really have much of the front lines, can only move to the neighboring sectors, one move point, well basically one move to one sector per turn. So yeah, this very first, or let's say turn 0, is going to be played only defensively, and we'll have to distribute the units, and basically just spread them out accordingly to see what we're facing. So, we already looked over the Heavy Armored Battalion. We have Special Aviation Regiment, Special Forces basically. As you can see, have a few command units, which will also be used in the battles as well to capture some sectors. I will explain that to you as we go on to an actual match and to an actual play. Yeah, I have the UDT SEALs as their special forces. Pretty decent characteristics of them, really. Speed 30 kilometers per hour. Well, I'm not going to argue with the game developers here, of course, but yeah, this must be made of Olympic speedrunners, track runners there. They have H1Js, which is going to be extremely useful in environments where the airspace isn't contested, especially. Because, yeah, helicopters in here are pretty fragile, but if you let them come too close, they're going to unleash the living hell onto your or enemy troops, respectively. Also have MD-500 ITOs, basically a little bird with tow missiles strapped to the side of them, which are pretty useful, especially against swarms of enemy vehicles, which you're gonna have to expect because this is North Korea. They are full of very cheap and spammable units. Let's say this is a 53rd Infantry Battalion, which has Byung. This is this is reserve infantry, which is quite interesting. Just in reservists right into the thick of it, to the battlefield. But their backbone infantry is Songchong SUs. Do I see the same infantry name? Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess they are naming their things the same, because all of this, all of these squads and everything, they're based on the real-life counterparts. The videos you were seeing at the start of this video and the introduction to the campaign are just basically various pieces taken from propaganda and other incidents within them two Koreas, and just patched in together. Nothing real in there, actually. So yeah, let's not hold ourselves back. And yeah, from what I can see, I can already predict that this group of units will be attacking Uichang. The biggest force is going to be coming at Daegu, and this little, actually not that much of a force, we cannot see these, is going to be coming to Yeongdeok. Yeah, since the fog of war here, we have insufficient visibility. Let's spread some troops out. Well, I'll immediately assign this logistics convoy to Daegu sector, because this is going to be the thickest of it, I suppose. I guess might be the best word for it. And I will send in the heavy armored battalion here as well. What about the special forces, which we looked over already? Well, this is a contested airspace. That's for sure. They have planes in there. We have a tank battalion consisting of T-55s. Okay, these are actually not that threatening from what I expect. Well, from what I first seen. Only 7 frontal armor, AP power only at 11. What about Type 63? Oh, even worse. Okay, so these guys are not going to be that much of a threat. So I might as well assign the Special Aviation Regiment to... Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, this is Special Aviation Regiment. UDT SEAL Special Forces at your disposal to support your ground defense. Okay, cool. We'll put you to good use, don't worry. So yeah, as I was saying, we're assigning them to Yeongdeok because this has only the 2nd Armored Regiment. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier, yeah, they have a little bit of stats here, morale and cohesion and initiative. So the more they fight, the more they move, they lose cohesion and initiative, which means less starting points at the beginning of a match, which you will see within this episode a bit later on. We still have one ground unit here, which is Close Recon Convoy, consisting of K-111s. I'm not going to be using these. This is basically a recon jeep. You can basically place it somewhere in the forest or something, make it concealed so it can spot, but what is the stealth of it? Medium. I'm not sure if these is going to be of any use for me. And they have also the Fiat 6616s, which are, well, unarmored, only APCs for recon, but they have some pretty good armament. A German Rheinmetall 202 autocannon, 20 mil rounds, and of course a Mark 19 grenade launcher, which is really good at crowd control. By crowd control, I don't mean firing at civilians or anything like that, but firing at enemy troops. Yeah, I might assign this close recon convoy also to Daegu to have as many units to greet the upcoming force from Gyeochang as possible. And we have 3 air squadrons. So one of them consists of F-86F Sabres from year 1956. Jesus Christ, they're using some old tech here. Let's not forget, the year is 1987 in this scenario. But as it seems, they are close air support. They are doing the close air support role, so they only have like 127mm rockets to basically barrage the enemy. Okay, I'm probably gonna go ahead and immediately assign to Uichang, uncontested airspace. What else do we have? A 152nd Strike Squadron, another ground, anti-ground based squadron, which has AGM-65B Mavericks. Okay, so this is one of the top of the line air-to-ground missiles of the game, with, as you may already see, AP power being 26, and it's a heat round. And I forgot to mention from earlier on how heat round damage works. So let's go back to that K1. So kinetic energy works that way. You just take frontal armor and subside the AP power of HE shell incoming. But with heat, it's a bit different. Well, sort of same, but different. If this tank, let's say, faces an ATGM or another type of heat round into its face, into the frontal armor, what it does is, of course, does the same calculation, AP power, let's say in this case also 16, or even 15, doesn't matter, lower than the frontal armor. And the frontal armor is 17, the AP power is 15, let's say, it should be no damage, right? But since it's a heat round, it's still, it's specialized anti-tank round. It's still gonna do a little bit of scrape, it's still gonna do a little bit of damage. The minimum damage that a heat round can do is 1. So even in this case, let's say even if a 15 AP power ATGM strikes the front of a K1, it's gonna still take away that 1 health point. So if you're being rained down by cheap and spammable ATGMs, doesn't matter what you have, you're still running a high risk of getting your tank blown up. So yeah, since what we're facing here, fire support convoy, anti-tank convoy, they have anti-tank convoy here. What do they have? Type 85s with their... Yep, there we go. As I was just saying, cheap, spammable units. How do I know they're spammable, of course? Well, as you can see on the stats card, that Type 85 Susong Po, there by the North Korean flag there, as you may see, there's a little number, which now in this case says 20. Which means this is how many points this unit is worth. Not in these points, but the match points, basically. I'm gonna go over that as we play. And yeah, it has these cheap, spammable ATGMs, which may rain down, maybe not. We'll see how quick we can switch these off. So we'll have to guard this heavy armored battalion quite a bit in order not to get them, you know, screwed over. What else we have here before assigning that 152nd? We have 161st Fighter Squadron. Okay, so these are air superiority fighters. F-16C Peace Bridge. Okay, we are getting closer to some good gear here. Speed at 1,000 clicks, still subsonic. Yeah, we have some pretty decent weaponry here. Good range against helicopters, even though 4.2 clicks range on airplanes is being shown here as pretty bad, but this is an AIM-9 rocket, which is not really for long-range fire and interceptors. Most of the times, the planes in this game are dogfighting anyway if they have to. So, still decent, 60% accuracy with 60% stabilizer. I think planes have accuracy and stabilizers always at the same value, because come on, they're always on the move, they cannot stop. So here's your game logic there. And they also have KF-16Cs. This is basically an F-16, the Korean version. So they have AIM-128 AMRAAMs. So these are, as you can see, range all airplanes, 7,700 meters. So these are the interceptor missiles. So it's basically an interceptor aircraft. So I know what we're dealing with now. And since we have 2 possibilities of being contested, I might check it out, but the enemy has F5s. Oh boy. Okay, these are not really great planes. They have napalm bombs though, which is a huge threat to the infantry. We might want to put some AA in Daegu sector as well, but I am now heavily thinking, who should I bring? I think I'll go ahead and bring the strike squadron here to rain down fire and fury over the enemy's vehicles in the form of Mavericks. I'll assign this 161st Fighter Squadron in the Yongdeok sector. Now, we still have some 30 points here. We can spend those to call in some additional units before we take off. Basically, Air Force. Yeah, Air Force Reserve. For now, we have enough Air Force here. 1 unit per sector is usually more than enough. ROK Army Reserve. Ah, great. We have anti-air convoy, which I'm spawning in immediately. You can also only spawn in units with either airfield, well, basically in the central points. It's not really mentioned where in here. It's not being very intuitive, or where you can spawn, but you can only spawn at the airfield or airport places here, I suppose. A little brain freeze there. We have an anti-tank convoy, attack helicopter convoy, and a logistics convoy. We have 1 logistics convoy on already. Do I think I need any more? This is a good question. If we have some points left over, I guess. We have attack helicopter convoy with some HA-1Ss and 1Js. That might come in handy, actually. We have only 20 points, and I'd like to take those 2 bad boys in as well. By the way, the point income comes from the owned sectors, which can wield points. In this case, Busan, which gives us, well, there we go, strategic sector. That's where you can spawn units, I guess. Oh, never mind. I was a bit wrong here. So yeah, 15 points each turn I get for owning this sector. And of course, later on I'll own those and I'll be earning more points, but we'll need to push hard for that. Right. Oh, this one. Oh, oh, there we go. No. This is the one which I spawned in. So I'll immediately assign to Daegu, because we'll need to take these things down somehow, because they're gonna cause a lot of trouble if we don't. And let's bring up our recruitment screen here. List. I'll take the attack helicopter convoy, then, and assign them. Well, this can fight on ground. This not... Wait a minute, they have the attack helicopters with a special aviation regiment. Yeah, I'll toss them into Oichang. On top of that, they're going to be facing some tanks, and our tanks are not really that capable of a force. Not with these things. So yeah, these attack helicopters with their ITOs and other small caliber, basically missiles, they're gonna come in handy. They're gonna be pretty good. Oops, bit of a misclick here. And we have our orders and laid down. We have our troops assigned to their sectors. One thing before I click end turn. Planes do return to airports after each battle. They have to be reassigned again or be landed in other airfields. So which means I can only take them so far. Now planes do have a bit of a bigger range than the land units, which can only move 1 sector at a turn. They can move a bit more, I think up to 2 or 3 even sometimes. But if you want to make them stay somewhere nearby, they after each battle they do return. Let's say they fought in this sector, they're going to be returning to the airport. So you can, of course, when you own a sector, you can reassign to other airports to have them on standby a bit closer to where you need them to be. Cool. And we'll end the turn here, and let's see what the AI has in the turn of us. Oh, there we go. I was a bit lost on the movements there, and we are having conflict in the sector of Daegu. So let's look over the screen first. We have command points and destruction points. So command points is what we start with. Bonus points from cohesion, because our units are well rested. Some of them are not, as you may already seen. We have 5 base command point. At base, we have 5 command points per second of our income, so we can bring in some additional reinforcements in the middle of the match. Starting points is 1250. Same goes with enemy. They have the same cohesion. They have same amount of cohesion, same amount of starting points. Now, destruction points is basically how much damage in points we have to deal in order to defeat the enemy. So let's take this ZSU, this Shilka. It's worth 30 points, as you can see from the unit card. If we kill a Shilka, the enemy loses 30 points. We gain 30 tower. We gain 30 points, not for our disposal, not for us to use, but just for the record. So let's say we kill enough enemies worth that many and that many points. We bring their total force pool down to 0. We win. Yeah, since we are defending, we own all of these sectors immediately. This is where we're going to be fighting. Probably most important screen here in this whole UI. Now, about command units, which I mentioned earlier, we will have to hold those sectors somehow, and those command units, that's what their job is, they hold down sectors. You need to place a command unit in each of these sectors in order to keep the hold of them. These sectors are probably the most important in general. At least owning one of them is crucial, because they have, as you may see, land. You can't really see it, but there should be saying air corridors for reinforcements. If you are holed up only in Bravo and don't own any of these other ones, you cannot call in any reinforcements, which is gonna end tragically, automatically, basically. So yeah, what my plan is, since they are owning the Gyeochang sector, this is where they're gonna start. They're most likely gonna roll down somewhere to the middles, probably around this bridge, good old choke point. So I'll focus my troops along this line by the river and try to pick them off before they get to cross from on these bridges, hopefully. So yeah, forces, ours versus enemies. They don't have too much, to be honest. Hopefully we're gonna handle them just fine. There's a avoid battle button. Let's not use that, not anytime soon. This is basically retreating. Auto-resolve is evil. Never use that. Not only it just takes bland numbers and just mash them together, but they also apply a little bit of a buff by the looks of it to the enemy, so you have pretty high chances of losing when playing yourself physically might bring you an easy win. So, what are my orders? We're launching the battle. That's what are my orders. Let's get right into it. It's loading up the map. And this is where we're going to be playing. The map was accurate indeed. So, yeah, there we go. As you can see, the camera in this game is pretty free, but I usually play within one perspective only. Each little crest, each little tree here does count. You can place your troops within the forest. As you can see, it says dense forest, to conceal them and make them basically hard to see. Unless they fire. If they fire, they expose themselves immediately. You can... the dense forests also provide 10% cover, which means damage incoming is 10%... is 10% reduced by 10%. There we go. Brain freezes all over the place, and that also goes to buildings, but they work a bit differently. You can put infantry into building sectors, or building blocks, whatever. It says building heavy cover, which means that infantry stationed in there is going to receive 40% reduction in incoming damage, both physical and morale damage, which I'm going to talk, maybe, if I don't forget, walk you through in a minute. So as you can see, there's morale, mine, and the computers, the enemies. So this is those starting points, those destruction points I was mentioning earlier. They're at full, and you, of course, by killing the enemy, drain them to 0. There is 20 minutes timer, so each match cannot go longer than 20 minutes. If the timer runs out, it's just basically whoever has less points loses. Pretty simple. So let's place our units accordingly. So we have an FOB here, which I haven't gone over. The FOB comes with the logistics convoys only. This is basically your huge-ass supply building. That's usually FOBs don't even have their unit icons or anything on their stat card, because, well, it's a building. It's not fighting capable thing in this whole game. We also have one of the command units automatically placed. You have to have at least one command unit present on the battlefield. If not, if the last one of yours gets killed, that's it. You're done for. You lost the match. You have no command. So yeah, we of course will hold, and then we'll hold this sector to Ulchang to have at least one land and air corridor. I don't think we'll be taking these as we need to spare our troops and our resources, because whatever damage we get, those units that you were seeing on the tactical map in the menu, yeah, they save. If your unit gets killed, there's scratch one off the list in there, and they can eventually run out. So we have to be careful of what we basically send in the battlefield, because it's very easy to forget of one stray unit, because this game requires a lot of mental power in micromanaging. So let's see with your favorite hotkey, or just clicking over to the deployment menu. Let's check what we got. Of course, we have another FOB here. Yes, we do have another FOB in tow. As you can see, it says FOB, and there's a little 75-point window saying rookie. Well, as it's veterancy level. Veterancy levels, your units gain them as they fight. Basically, they lay off fire, they kill enemies, they gain veterancy, which also carries over to their matches and saves. So yeah, you receive buffs in accuracy, lower morale drop, and all that sort of thing. Now, the best morale killers are probably artillery, because there's chaos going all around you, and you're just getting stunned. Your morale drops, you rout, and yeah. So we gotta watch out for those, because I'm pretty sure the enemy should be raining some really heavy artillery on us. Because it's North Korea, I guess you don't have anything, so we're just gonna drop a shell on you. We're not gonna spawn under FOB. One is usually enough. It has 16,000 liters in this game, actually, that's how it's named, of supply. I don't think we'll use even half of it. We'll have to see as we play. So, as I said, I'm gonna be taking over Bravo as well. Oh yeah, one more thing. These little +2, +4 with the star icon here, that's how much extra income do you get by owning and holding this sector. So there's a command unit here. It holds the Oichang sector. We had the base, as you may remember, we had the base income rate of 5, so that's going to be a +2 on top of that one. Pretty easy. So we're going to spawn in some command infantry. We're going to place them in building here, in this building block here to hold down the Bravo. And let's see, let's go one by one. So infantry, we have Yebigun, which is, as you can see on the stat card, on the bottom of it, the training is militia. This is reserve infantry, and I'll use it for only reserve occasions. They are not really good. They have M14 rifles, which are not even automatic fire capable. M21 super bazooka, geez, with AP power of only 10 and accuracy of 30. The range is only 500 meters. Well, usually the infantry doesn't carry anything long range, because, well, of course, they're not supposed to fight tanks all the time. But let's say if you place a tank over here in the middle of the street or a town, you can actually sneak up a unit, because direct line of sight is important. The tank will not see the enemy infantry moving over here. You can place them here in buildings, and they are going to immediately take out their anti-tank weapon and fire off at your, hopefully not, expensive tank. And you're going to lose those points pretty easily. It's all about price per performance, I guess, in this game, the way I see it. To kill the more expensive enemy unit with your cheaper one. Or just bring in enough firepower, maybe expensive firepower, to just overwhelm them. So we're gonna go with the backbone infantry here. Oh, okay. I will go over one more game mechanic before we proceed. So you may have seen, you may have seen or maybe not, I double-clicked on this one, on this unit to spawn it in. Let's say if I single-click it, of course, as you may have seen, like this unit, it has one square. It's a single unit. We're just gonna go over and spawn them in one by one. And yeah, let's say there's a few units here. There's a enemy by these buildings. They see it. They all engage the same one. Let's say there are some other enemy units here. I'll use our own units as an example here. Let's spawn in a few more. So yeah, these units, they noticed, let's say this came 900 first. They're all gonna concentrate their fire on that one. without even looking at the other ones. Let's say approaching, retreating, doesn't matter. Now, you can stack your units if you double click. That didn't quite work out. Triple click, or even quadruple click on a unit in the deployment menu. As you can see, they group up. Now, what grouping up does is basically giving a better a better communications between them, so to say. And in the same scenario where they're facing enemies from multiple points of view, they're not just gonna concentrate on one enemy. If they have a chance, one of them is gonna fire at one enemy, and the other one's gonna spread their fire to the other one, or even the third one. There depends on which one's nearer, I think. And yeah, this is a pretty good thing really that AI does that, because you're not concentrating on one enemy, you're laying down fire on multiple sectors or lines of fire, and you distribute firepower, and you have higher chances of just picking an enemy off. Now you can actually order manually, just click on the unit and right click on the enemy in order to just target that, but AI is pretty intelligent enough in this game, I guess, to figure things out on their own, so I always use double stacks. They also share the ammunition field between them and everything else. Of course, morale too, which means that if, let's say, there is artillery barrage in this double stacked unit, one unit is placed in this building, another one is there, this unit gets hit, gets shaken and stunned, that one will do too. So there's a downside to these things, I guess, to this whole thing of stacking. So I'll place another unit here in the buildings to be ready to defend. A couple more double stacks around these. I can't place, it's being blocked off by this big ass building. And we also have, as I can see, those recoilless rifles I was talking about. So these can be pretty good for support in taking out the enemy vehicles that are moving in and our tank cannot handle, because you're just flooding in. So I'll place a few as well. This is combined arms, and combined arms in modern battlefield as well is very important. Use a plethora of varying units, and they're all going to support each other, and yada yada, all that stuff. I might be actually pushing them over to that line there later on if I see fit. But we play defensively here. We hold up, we turtle up, and we hold on. Okay, let's see what else we got. We have some engineers. We have M202 flash, napalm rounds, so basically fire spitters. I'm not gonna spawn them just now, because as you may have noticed, we're spending some points here. We might need to concentrate on something else. So here's the support tab. Cool, so we have we have some artillery, which is, yeah, rocket artillery, your Katyushas, basically. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use those just now. I might spawn them in the middle of the battlefield if things get a bit too thick around Bravo or somewhere else. Doesn't matter. We have our radar anti-air missile to M727 Nighthawks. Yeah. What else do we have here before proceeding? We have K263s with Vulcans. So we have a anti-air radar rockets and anti-air gun, also equipped with radar. From what you can see by K263 on the stats card, look over to the right, as you can see the icon of a unit has this like little AA battery thing with letter R on it. Some of them don't, which means they're not radar equipped. Yeah, I'll probably be spending some money on a couple of Hawks right here on the corner. Their air corridor is there, so they're probably going to be flying over through the middle. So my Hawks, they have pretty good range. You're going to be able to pick them off from there just fine. What else do we have? We have tanks, of course. The one which I'm the best at in this game, and I use them the most efficiently. Well, we'll do a few double stacks of them, that's for sure. to reinforce. We're gonna place a couple of them here, a couple of them there. They cost 90 points each. We're running really low. Let's take, before recruiting any more of these, or placing any more of these, let's look what else we got for soup, for the mess, from the mess today. What kind of soup we got? We have recon, which is important. I'll immediately place down some recon infantry here, of course, with their transport vehicle, and have one advanced unit crawl over to these forests here, have them switch off their fire, not to fire, and just sit somewhere here and overlook the area of what enemy is bringing, basically on my little own advanced warning system. The K111s, which I said I'm not even going to use, so we're just going to go ahead and move on to Fiats. I'm going to place one just behind the tanks to give them better visibility, because as you can see on the stat card, on the bottom of it, it says optics, very good, which means they can see further, identify targets a lot sooner than, let's say, a K1. Let's see what kind of optics does K1 have, which is medium, only medium, so it means it's not blind, not good, not bad. It's sort of a middle ground. Well, that's why it's called medium in the first place. Cool. Are we ready? No, we're not, actually. We have some vehicles. We have KM-132s. Oh, we have some APC spitting napalm here. Okay. I'm not gonna be spawning in these just yet. Though, if I feel the need to oxy-clean this town out of enemy troops, I might bring a few of these, because napalm kills infantry almost instantly. We also have some air here, the F4E Peace Peasants. I'm very tempted to bring one, to have one on standby from the start. Maybe it can engage an enemy, but I'm not so sure. I believe I should bring him something else instead, but not more infantry, not in this one. Not enough for two. I'd like to buy at least two for the start. Okay, we'll have one airplane on standby. We have 55 leftover points. I do not think we need anything else. These sectors are going to be lost immediately after we start, because we have no command units here. And speed normal, everything's ready. Let's see, let's launch the battle. Okay, so I'll immediately unload any troops from these from their vehicles. As you can see, the sector was not even owned because the command infantry was not unloaded and not ready. I'll pull back these infantry carriers, because when an infantry unit comes with a carrier, and if the carrier gets destroyed after the match, the infantry unit, the squad gets dismissed. And we already saw some enemy activity right there. I'm gonna push up those K1s with an attack move together with a Fiat to engage them as soon as possible. Now K1s have pretty good range. Yep, there we go. Our first shots of this whole campaign, and they seem to hit. They even have the chances here, the range and everything, more information. Oh, they were immediately halted. That was a direct hit. Oh, there we go. And here we go. 20 points for me, or less for them. They lost some immediately. Oh, and the enemy is immediately dropping on us, which is of course not good, not great. The Fiat is engaging some BBTs, and it's all immediately receiving some artillery fire right here. Okay, we have quite a few points already. Let's bring in our Katyushas in a form of 2 double stacks. Oh, things are kicking off here, that's for sure. And I completely forgot about my unit here. I'll pull it to the forest. It seems that some of the enemies are gonna be going for Uichan. I must prevent that, because there's my FOB and they can capture it from me. I'll bring in some reservists, I guess. They are gonna deal with the rest of things here. Oh, it's receiving ATGM fire. The keyboards are receiving some ATGMs. As you can see, it has lost some health. It's pretty hard to... it's getting pretty hard to explain everything on the go. There's quite a bit of action going about. I'll pull back some of these K1s, and it seems that, yes, there's an enemy trying to rain down fire on us, and here's our AA, which is being inept, and took down one of the enemy planes. Nice shot. It still has two. The thing still has two rockets with it. I can resupply it at the FOB. I'll go ahead and unload the troops. There's in the buildings, so they can finally engage. Oh, there was some recon infantry there. Let's bring in another couple of K1s, because it seems that there are some vehicles here which are going to cause some trouble. And we are so far doing somewhat fine. We are having KM900s destroyed somewhere. Yeah, the enemy is being very unforgiving on this one. Our tanks are taking some slight damage, most likely from those cheap ATGMs. They just kind of scrape them a little bit. And we will, of course, need some more firepower on this place. Okay, I'll move over the K1s, not even, so they can actually... Your team, 70% of destruction points needed. I haven't even noticed. I'm killing them like crazy. Yeah, they were spamming their cheap troops in very high quantities in a very short period of time. I was able to switch most of them off real fast. So that's those KM900s that got killed off right here. As you can see, still burning. Fire not even taken down. I guess we could do a little final push if we even need it. I'll distribute these KM900s to engage any infantry. It seems that one of the tanks here is getting pretty well. It's even panicked. It's received too much damage in a short period of time. But we are engaging on all the fronts, everywhere possible. Some artillery fire has been dispensed at our K1s here. They're being stunned. They're panicked and shaken. I haven't used these at all. Minimal range. We've reached minimal range. Well, might as well. Deploy them, use them. We're gonna... Oh, there we go. That was a nice shot from our Hawk. Right there. That's out the rockets, though. I'm gonna go ahead and take him to resupply. If you shift and click on any order, it's gonna compute. So that's a little tip for you right here. And it seems that we're receiving some heavy fire here, but only 44 points left for the enemy. So I'm handling this pretty well. I was expecting a loss, to be honest, almost. But, well, come on. We brought in so many units. And here we go. We killed off some. And here are the last... here were the last enemy units that were... so to say, killed off. And we have a total victory. The battle lasted 5 minutes and 27 seconds. The battle stalled because the enemy losses, 1,360 points, have exceeded their sustainable losses. So... we wrecked them pretty good. Just look. 34 infantry units. They have only 12 left now. Out of that total number at the start from was 38, I think. Yeah, of course. We switched off 3 Shilkas. They only have 1 left now. Yeah. This went a lot better than expected. What about the planes? How many took him down? 2. So, okay, from 8 to 6 they're gonna have in the future. What are my losses, though? We lost 3 Songchu 85s, most likely because the KM900s got destroyed, not even because the whole unit got wrecked. Yeah, it was pretty quick, not that much of a showcase, but there are going to be some more episodes with way more battles in the future, and some more explanations on game mechanics. And that's pretty much it. Only 3 units lost. Holy cow. But, yeah, as you can see, how much I had, how much the enemy had. It's just immense. Immense unfairness, so to say, or... it's almost incomprehensible, really. I'm struggling to find words to explain how screwed they were from the start, basically. So yeah, look at all those kills. The K1s did a really good job at switching off enemy vehicles, even some infantry from the names I see. Jigsaw Wahhabi-Ban. What is that? I have no clue. Actually, I completely forgot what that unit is. Who are you? Oh, these are the the fire support. Yeah, the recoilless rifles. They also took down 2 enemy vehicles, probably with their infantry still being with them, because if you destroy the personnel carrier, the personnel with personnel in it, the personnel dies too. So the Fiats actually did a pretty good job. Actually, only one, which were finishing off enemies like crazy. We didn't lose any of them, so those Fiats are still pretty capable if you just place them behind the tanks. The enemy will probably still concentrate on the tanks, while your Fiats, your recon APCs basically, can rain down their Rheinmetall 202 autocannon fire, which fires high explosive shells, and their Mark 19 grenade launchers. They're being put to good use. Yeah, our backbone infantry did kill some. They also got some. Once again, K1s, the infantry. This was just a massacre of the North Koreans, basically. Losses, 70 points. Also, we lost a bit more than that. Wait a minute. Or I think then that they count in the infantry together with the KM900s, which got killed off. Or maybe not, actually, then. What the hell is that? Why it's only a -3 here? I don't see anything else. Might be a game bug, maybe? I don't know. Oh, this game is pretty well patched, it never really crashes. So yeah. So this is the leftovers, the tactical map, sector of Daegu. What is left here? So the enemies, the North Koreans, started from Gyeochang sector, and they were pushed off completely off this map, most likely. And we were holding Bravo and Uichang, so that's what stays with us. The rest is owned by nobody. If we get to fight here again, I may try to put some logistics units, command units in these two, so we also own these sectors from the get-go, but I'm pretty sure since they're attacking from Gyeochang, they're only gonna start off with owning this sector only, but they can easily make it their way to others. Well, I'll need to think of more strategies later on and everything else and whatever. Okay, so here we go. Turn 1. As you can see, the enemies have these exclamation marks by them. They're routing. As you can see, the area here is uncontested. The enemy's completely pushed away, so that's good. Let's see. Does it say? Well, it should be saying routing. So they've been tracked pretty well. Their plane still here is gonna return to the airport. So yeah, not that much of enemy left in here. Very good, very good. Probably high morale and everything. And since this video is getting pretty long, probably over 1 hour, haven't checked the time, I think I will end here. So yeah, this was the first episode of Busan Pocket Campaign. There will be many more, of course. Thanks for tuning in. Hope I didn't forget to mention any of the basics. I'll probably be going them over again and again and something extra in the future episodes. And yeah, so here we go. Thanks once again, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.